is one that we need every day in our life. It has a huge purpose in our living. Life isn't easy without fire. We use it when we cook. It gives light in our life, and it can change everything into finished product. It's either positive or negative result. Good morning, everyone. I am Dailin Alfonso, Group 4, and we will going to report the proper documentation of fire scene and the definition of arson. I am the reporter number 1, and my topic is all about the history and the definition of fire. Next could be the proper documentation of fire scene, which is be reported by Neil Cordero. Next, reporter number 3, Nicole Napagaw, and the rest will followed by Jordan, Italia Giselle, Italia Bilijan, Lugto, Haga, Inosas, Himoranian with their respective topics. Now, let's proceed to the history of fire. History of fire. The oldest fire recorded on Earth has been identified from charcoal in rocks formed during the late Silurian period around 420 years ago. How was fire invented? Claims for the earliest definitive evidence of control of fire by a member of Homo range from 1.7 to 2 million years ago. Evidence for the microscopic traces for wood ash as controlled use of fire by Homo erectus beginning roughly 1 million years ago has widely scholarly support. Fire control changed the course of human evolution, allowing our ancestors to stay warm, cook food, ward off predators, and venture into harsh climates. It has also had important social and behavioral implications, encouraging groups of people to gather together and stay up late. Despite the significance of kindling flames, when and where human ancestors learned how to do it remains a subject of debate and speculation. There is even little consensus about which hominins, modern humans, a direct predecessor or a long extinct branch, first acquired the skill. The oldest unequivocal evidence found at Israel's Qizem cave dates back 300,000 to 400,000 years, associating the earliest control of fire with Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Now, however, an international team of archaeologists has unearthed what appeared to be traces of campfires that flickered 1 million years ago, consisting of charred animal bones and ash plant remains. The evidence hails from South Africa's Wonderwerk Cave, a site of human and early hominin habitation for 2 million years. The researchers find the evidence in a layer of rock containing hand axes, stone flakes, and other tools attributed by previous excavations to a particular human ancestor. Homo erectus, characterized by its upright stance and robust build. This early hominin species lived from 1.8 million to 200 years ago. The evidence from Wonderwerk Cave suggests that Homo erectus had some familiarity with fire, said Francesco Berna, an archaeology professor at Boston University and the lead author of a paper on the team's finding. Now let's proceed to the definition of fire. Fire is the rapid oxidation of material, the fuel, in the exothermic chemical process of combustion, releasing heat, light, and various reaction products. Essentially, fire is a chemical reaction. A carbon-based material, or the fuel, mixes with oxygen, usually a component of air, and it comes in contact with something hot enough to heat this mixture so that the combustible vapors are produced. If this vapor dissipates, then nothing happens. Sometimes incomplete combustion occurs, and these intermediate are produced in unusually large quantities. For example, if a flame doesn't get enough oxygen, it can produce carbon monoxide instead of carbon dioxide. Flames occur when two gases react, producing both heat and light. When different gases react, they produce different amounts of energy, causing some flames to burn at a higher temperature than others. The flame of a household candle, for instance, will reach between 800 degrees Celsius and 1000 degrees Celsius. A flame can be made to burn at a higher temperature by adjusting the reaction. For example, using pure oxygen instead of air. Burning a mix of oxygen and acetylene or oxyacetylene will produce a flame that burns out over 3000 degrees Celsius and can be used to cut, melt, and weld metals. We still don't fully understand each step in process or all the intermediate molecules involved. And of course, this vary depending on fuel too. Fire is a chemical reaction in which energy in the form of heat is produced. The chemical reaction is known as combustion. Combustion occurs when fuel or other material reacts rapidly with oxygen, giving off light, heat, and flame. Fire is a chemical reaction that converts a fuel and oxygen into carbon dioxide and water. It is an exothermic reaction. In other words, one that produces heat. That's the end of my report. Thank you for listening, and please listen to the next reporter. Once again, I am Dailin O. Alfonso.
Good day. I'm Nel Cordero from BS Cream 3 Papa, and my topic is the proper documentation of fire scene. First is the field notes. Document all permanent information related to the investigation in the form of field notes, facts, observations, questions and answers, incident information, scene information, and suppressive information. Next is the sketching. Another step in the documentation of evidence is preparing diagram or sketch of measurement for the location of evidence. Sketching is the basic but essential investigative technique that is well within the capability of the most novice investigator, and it is employed conscientiously by more experienced investigators in every fire scene. The next is the rough sketch. The rough sketch is made at the scene of the investigation after the preliminary search of the scene, but before the movement or removal of any evidence, when objects such as bodies must be removed from the scene before the sketch is complete. The objects should be photographed or in the exact location recorded and marked with chalk or any marking device. Next is photographs. Take as many photographs as necessary to document and record the scene adequately. It recognizes that time and expense considerations may affect the number of photographs taken. Photographs need to be taken as soon as practical to ensure the scene is undisturbed. And the last one is the evidence. Use notes, photos, and sketches to document the evidence collection process. Remember to make notes and sketches pertaining to the collection and photograph the collection of each piece of evidence. Just as in photographing the fire scene, you need to document evidence in a similar fashion. This documentation is done on an evidence log. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, this is Christian Nicole Napaga from BS Cream 3 Papa, and today I will be going to tackle about the topic that is assigned to me, which is the background and the definition of arson. Arson crime, commonly defined by the statute as the willful or malicious damage or destruction of property by means of fire or explosion. In English common law, arson referred to the burning of another person's dwelling under circumstances that endangered human life. Which means, arson ay isang krimen na karaniwang tinutukoy ng batas bilang ang kusa o malisyosong pinsala o pagkasira ng ari-arian sa pamamagitan ng pagsunog o pagsabog. Arson ay tumutukoy also sa pagsunog ng mga tirahan ng ibang tao sa ilalim ng mga pangyayari na nagsasapanganib sa buhay ng tao. Arson is also the willful or malicious burning of property such as a building. Especially with criminal or fraudulent intent, arson was determined to be the cause of fire. So which means ang kusa o malisyosong pagsunog ng ari-arian, kagaya ng isang gusali, lalo na may kriminal o mapaninlang na layunin na natukoy na ang arson ang sanhi ng sunog. The term derives from Low French arson, late 13th century, from Old French archon, from late Latin arsionem, or which means a burning, from the verb ardere, which means to burn. The Old English term was burnet, lit or burning, and Edward Coke has indictment of burning, which was on 1640, and arsonist is from 1864. So who was the first arsonist? The first arsonist was John Leonard Orr. John Leonard Orr was the first arsonist. So the term arson is legally term used to define a statutory offense, and arsonist refers to an individual who has been convicted of that offense. And that means that ang terminong arson ay isang legal na termino na ginamit upang tukuyin ang isang paglabag ayon sa batas, at ang arsonist ay tumutukoy sa isang individual na nahatulan ng pagkakasalang iyon. Also, arson continues to be a serious problem on a global scale, resulting in high costs in terms of property loss, injuries, and fatalities. It can be defined as the deliberate and malicious burning of property, having three main elements. So the first, there has been a burning of property. Second, the burning is incendiary in origin. And finally, the burning was started with the intent of destroying the property. The motives of fire setting behavior has been classified by the National Center of the Analysis of Violent Crime as vandalism, excitement, revenge, crime concealment, profit, and extremism. To prove that the crime of arson has been committed, the cause of the sin can be destroyed. However, a systematic investigation may yield sufficient evidence to determine the cause. It is therefore important that every fire scene is treated as a potential arson crime until proof of natural or accidental cause has been established.
Good day everyone, I am Micah Andre P. Jordan, and the topic that was assigned to me is the elements of arson. So we have three elements of arson. First, that the actual burning took place. So dapat may actual nga nasunog, kagamo ni ang ginatawag tang body of the crime or the corpus delicti. So ano ang body of the crime? Na dapat may ara nga ebidensya para makonvict ang isa ka tawo, like arson. Ano ang pinaka-main na evidence para makonvict yung arson as a crime intent? Dapat may nasunog na ari-arian or property. Ikadua, that the actual burning is done with malicious intent. So, dapat ginhungod ang pagsunog. Pag may intention ka, arson. Pag wala, automatic, walang arson. Because when we say arson, it is the willful or malicious damage or destruction of property by means of fire or explosion. Ikatatlo, the actual burning is done by a person or a persons legally and criminally liable. So dapat tandaan ta nga sa batas ang batas hindi tanan nga tawo nga nakahimo krimen is legally and criminally liable, because may ginatawag ta nga criminal law justifying and exempting circumstances, that even if you commit a crime, that even if you committed that criminal act, you can be justified, you can be exempted from the criminal or civil liability. So, example, may 10 years old na bata nga nagsunog sa isa ka balay or isa ka property. Is that child be legally and criminally liable? No, because based on the Child and Welfare Code of the Philippines, it says that a child that is 15 years old and below are fully exempted from criminal and civil liability. So, mga bata nga 15 years old and below, hindi sila makasuhan. So, dapat dapat ang tawo nga naghimo sang sunog are legally and criminally liable para matawag nga arson. Thank you.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Giselle M. Italia from Cream 3P. And my report is all about accidental fire. So, accidental fire, the cause of shipboard fire may be purely accidental or may be the result of purposeful acts. Many fires have resulted from the acts of omission or crew members. Carelessness and irresponsible or ill-advised actions have caused disastrous fires, and omissions not taking the proper preventive measures when hazardous situations are discovered have allowed so many fires to just happen. So the classification of fire cause. The cause of fire may be classified as accidental first, second natural, and incendiary or undetermined. So we have accidental fire are those in which the proven cause does not involve any deliberate human act to ignite or spread the fire, while in most instances, this classification is clear. Some deliberately set fires can be accidental. For example, an engineer lighting of a boiler is purposely lighting a fire. If through some equipment malfunction or personal oversight, there is a flashback fire that spreads to involve the entire engine room, the spread of fire is accidental even though the initial fire was deliberate. Second one is natural fires is involved events such as lighting, wind, and the like, and do not involve any direct human intervention. They are sometimes referred to as acts of God. And the third one is incendiary fires are deliberately set under circumstances in which the individual knows that the fire should not be set. And the last is undetermined fire. Cause means that the cause cannot be proved. The fire still might be under investigation, and the cause might be determined at a later date. So again, accidental fires are those in which the proven cause does not involve any deliberate human act to ignite or spread the fire. So we have the list are the example of accidental fire. Number 1 is cooking. Second, overheated or short-circuited electrical connections. Spontaneous combustion of oils. Welding sparks, burst gas lines, sparks from fireplaces, lightning, cigarette butts left on appliances, and last, reacting chemicals. So, how to avoid accidental fire? First, never leaving cooking unattended. Create and practice a fire escape plan. Include 2 ways out of every room. Pick a spot to meet outside. Third, install and maintain smoke alarms. Place smoke alarms on every level of your home, including inside and outside bedrooms. Test smoke alarms once a month. And lastly, check your home appliances and wiring. That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Good day everyone, my name is Christine Joy H. Luto and I'm going to tackle about the arson investigation. Arson investigation conducted to determine if the fire was the result of an accident or started on a purpose. So, kina-investigate na di if the fire bala is aksidente lamang na siya nga natabo or ginhungod na siya para mag-commit ng crime. So, the purpose of conducting such an investigation is to determine if a crime has been committed. So ga-conduct ito na yung investigation, no? Kay para mabalaan naton kung may krimen gid bala nga natabo. Evidence will be collected and processed and witnesses will be interviewed. Especially bala kung may napatay or may napila sa insidente nga natabo. Legal consequences for an individual who's found to have intentionally started the fire will be even worse. Fires have been used in the past to cover up homicide. So, sino gini ba lang ka-conduct investigation, no? So the one who conducted investigation are the arson investigator. Arson investigator investigates a fire to determine if it was accident or deliberate. Arson investigators are law enforcement officers working for law enforcement agencies or fire departments. They specialize in investigating the cause of fires. Their responsibilities include collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and identifying possible suspects. The arson investigator, amo ni sila ang ga-collect ng evidence, ga-interview sa mga witnesses, kag ga-identify kung sino ang suspect sa natabo nga sunog. They use different techniques in their investigations to ultimately make a determinations of the cause. These techniques include collecting physical evidence and processing the evidence in a laboratory. So the preservation and investigation of fire scene begins before the arson investigator arrives. The first responders have the responsibility of making mental notes of the scene when they arrive. They will observe how the fire is burning, such as sputters, and be mindful of things such as broken windows and footprints. They must also be careful to protect evidence if possible. These are all things they will discuss with an arson investigator later. That's all. So, thank you everyone. Thank you, Mom, for listening and watching.
So let's proceed to the punishment for arson. These are the punishment under the crime of arson. Depend on the circumstances. When the arson consists in the burning of other property and under the circumstances given hereunder, the offender shall be punishable. Number 1. By reclusion temporal or reclusion perpetua. Magambal gani nga reclusion temporal. It is a imprisonment of 12 years and 1 to 20 years. And kung magambal naman reclusion perpetua, nagakahulugan sa sang life imprisonment. So, the offender shall be punishable by reclusion temporal or reclusion perpetua if letter A, if the offender shall set fire to any building, farmhouse, hut, shelter, or vessel in port, knowing it to be occupied at the time by one or more persons. Letter B, if the building burned is a public building and the value of the damage caused exceeds 6,000 pesos. Letter C, if the building burned is a public building and the purpose is to destroy evidence, keep therein to be used instituting prosecution for the punishment of violators of laws, irrespective of the amount of the damage. So, letter D, if the building burned is a public building and the purpose is to destroy evidence, keep therein to be used in legislative, judicial, or administrative proceedings, irrespective of the amount of the damage. However, that if the evidence destroyed is to be used against the defendant for the prosecution of any crime punishable under the existing laws, the penal shall be reclusion perpetua. And E, last is, if the arson shall have been committed with the intention of collecting under an insurance policy against loss or damage by fire. Number 2, by reclusion temporal. So the offender shall be punishable under reclusion temporal if, letter A, if an inhabited house or any other building in which people are accustomed to meet is set on fire, and culprit did not know that such house or building was occupied at the time, or he shall set fire to a moving freight train or vehicle, and the value of the damage caused exceed 6,000 pesos. Letter B. If a farm, sugar mill, cane mill, mill central, bamboo groves, or any similar plantation is set on fire and the damage cost exceeds 6,000 pesos. Again, letter C. If grain fields, pasture lands, or forest or planting are set on fire and the damage cost exceeds 6,000 pesos. Number 3, presyon mayor. So magambal gani nga presyon mayor, ang iyang penalty is nag-range from 6 years and 1 to 12 years. So this is the entirety sang penalty sang presyon mayor. So ang offender mag-undergo sa penalty nga presyon mayor if a building nga iyang sunog is not used as a dwelling place or place for assembly and located in a populated place is set on fire and the damage cost exceed 6,000 pesos. Number 4, presyon correctional. In its maximum period to presyon mayor in its medium period. So the maximum period of presyon correctional is nag-range siya from 4 years, 2 months, and 1 to 6 years of imprisonment. And the medium period of presyon mayor is nag-range siya from 8 years and 1 day to 12 years of imprisonment. So ang offender mag-undergo sa sininga penalty if the building iyang sunog is used as a dwelling located in an uninhabited place is set on fire and damage cost exceed 1,000 pesos. Number 5, by presyon correctional and its medium period to presyon mayor and its minimum period. When the damage cost is over 200 pesos but does not exceed 1,000 pesos in its property referred in paragraph A of the preceding subdivision is not set on fire, but when the value of such property does not exceed 200 pesos, the penal next lower in degree that prescribed in the subdivision shall be imposed. Number 6, the penalty of presyon correctional in its medium and maximum period. If the damage caused in the case mentioned in paragraph B of subdivision 3, if a building is not used as a dwelling place or place to be assembly, this article does not exceed 6,000 pesos but is over 200 pesos. 7. The penalty of presyon correctional in its minimum and medium period. If the damage caused in the case mentioned in paragraph B, subdivision 3, does not exceed 200 pesos. Number 8, the penalty of arresto mayor. So, arresto mayor is nag-range siya from 1 month and 1 day to months. And arresto ang offender mag-undergo sa sining punishment if a fine ranging from 50 to 100 per centum if the damage caused shall be imposed. When the property burned consists of grain fields, pasture lands, forests, or plantation, when the value of such property does not exceed 200 pesos. So, these are the 8 possible penalties or punishment for arson based on the circumstances. Thank you.
Good day. I will be reporting the degrees of arson. As for everyone to know, arson has 4 degrees. First, we have the first degree arson. The first degree arson is an act in which a person sets a fire to an occupied home or building. Bali, ang suspect nag-set fire sa occupied building or balay. Second degree arson is an act in which the person sets fire to an empty or abandoned structure. So, dari naman niya si second degree,
Ang suspect nag-set fire sa abandoned building, sa balay, or sa anuman nga mga structures. Next, we have the third-degree arson. It is an act in which a person sets fire to an abandoned area of space such as vacant lot or field. Sa diri naman sa third degree, ang suspect is nag-set siyang fire sa open space like for example sa mga field, vacant lot, kag iban pa nga mga hawan nga area. And lastly, the fourth degree arson. A person is guilty of arson in the fourth degree when the person recklessly damage a building or motor vehicle by intentionally starting a fire causing an explosion. Sa diri naman sa fourth degree, ang suspect is nag-set sang fire kag ginpadako niya pagid ang kalayo hasta nga may mga napatay or injury kag mas damo na nga mga buildings or structures ang na-damage sa kalayo nga ginset niya. And that's all. Thank you. Good day. I will be reporting the degrees of arson. As for everyone to know, arson has 4 degrees. First, we have the first degree arson. The first degree arson is an act in which a person sets a fire to an occupied home or building. Bali, ang suspect nag-set fire sa occupied building or balay. Second degree arson is an act in which the person sets fire to an empty or abandoned structure. Sa diri naman niya sa second degree, ang suspect nag-set fire sa abandoned building, sa balay, or sa anuman nga mga structures. Next, we have the third degree arson. It is an act in which a person sets fire to an abandoned area of space such as vacant lot or field. Sa diri naman sa third degree, ang suspect is nag-set siyang fire sa open space like for example sa mga field, vacant lot, kag iban pa nga mga hawan nga area. And lastly, the fourth degree arson. A person is guilty of arson in the fourth degree when the person recklessly damage a building or motor vehicle by intentionally starting a fire causing an explosion. Sa diri naman sa fourth degree, ang suspect is nag-set sang fire kag ginpadako niya pagid ang kalayo hasta nga may mga napatay or injury kag mas damo na nga mga buildings or structures ang na-damage sa kalayo nga ginset niya. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Jobin Nosas of Green Tree Papa. My topic given to me is arson prevention. To prevent arson, based on my research online, this is called arson prevention tips that helps a lot of people to prevent this. So guys, this is the 9 ways of arson tips. Arson prevention tips. Number 1 is keep garbage litter, leaves, firewood in overground, brush in shrubbery, and other combustibles away from building. So diri ko na guys, ipalain nyo gid ang mga para manikawan ko no. Ang arson, palain nyo gid ang mga dasig masunog nga gamit gaya sa mga firewood, mga plastic, and that's all. Number 2 is lock all doors and windows in garage sheds, cars, and occupied buildings. Lock nyo gid kuno ang inyong mga pertahan, bintana, importante gina kag ang garage kay siyempre ang mga arsones dira ga sugod sang ilang nga mission bla mga sunog na nila. Number 3, install outdoor lighting including motion sensors, light on all sides of your property. Install ako no sa mga outdoor lighting. Kaya kung di ba kung may mga suga kung may sa palibot, dasig nyo makita kung gabi ang mga tao kung sino sila, kag mapugnan nyo kung ano ang ila plano. Number 4 is board up abandoned buildings and clean. Number 4 guys, itinuan nyo ko ng mga buildings nga wala na ginagamit kay kung may sunog dira ba ginastock ang mga gamit nga mga scrap na bala nga mga plastic, mga styrofoam, papel. So itinuan nyo gina ko no para malikawan ang arson. Number 5 is secure store combustibles, as paint, gasoline, and oil in proper flammable storage containers and lock location to restrict access, minimize the quantity of combustibles in storage, and dispose of material that you don't need. So diri ka guys, i-secure nyo gid ang pareho sa mga flammable material bala sa insakto nga storage. Kag may restriction gid sa pagbantay sini kay siyempre sige na masunog guys sa mga gasolina bala. And number 6 is report suspicious activity near houses, garage, alleyways, or other buildings to your local fire or police department. Kung di ba kung may makita ka mo kuno nga mga suspicious nga activity gaya sa mga kapalibot-libot ng mga tao sa inyo bla, i-report nyo gid kuno dayon sa mga salapit sa inyo or local fire or police department. And number 7, get to know your neighbors. Together you can keep a watchful eye on your community. Balon magikuno kung ano ang imo nga neighbors, kung ano ila batasan, basi bala siyempre may ginaplano ang imong neighbor nang o kung di ba bago lang sa ilo ang tao da wala kabalo siya to gali ang Arsones nagsaylo na sa para da sige masunog ang sa ka building. Number 8 is keep matches and lighters out of reach and out of sight of children. If you suspect a child is setting fire, notify the proper authorities. So diri ka na guys, himuso nyo gid ang inyong mga puspro, lighter sa mga kabataan para malikawan ang sunog. And the last is number 9. If you know the suspect that an arson crime has been committed, contact your local fire or police department. So, diri ko no guys, kung nabalaan nyo nga siya ang suspect nga sa pagsunog na sa kasong arson nga ging kumitya, contact nyo gid kuno diyon ang first i-contact nyo gid diyon ang lapit nga department sa inyo, like local fire or police department. So para malikawan ang arson. And that's all. And that's all the 9 ways of arson prevention tips. Para sa para sa dugang lang, for more safety of ourselves and our loved ones in your home is on fire. There are 2 things everyone can do to increase their chances of surviving a fire and protecting our home. So there guys, may duwa ko no ka bagay nga plan para ma-protect mo imo kagulingon kag ang mga palangga mo kung masunog ang inyo nga balay. First is create a practice of fire escape. Plan include 2 ways out of every room. Pick up include 2 ways out of every room. Sulit. Nang pick a spot to meet outside. Practice the plan at least twice a year with everyone in your household. Dili ka no guys, maubra ka no sa mga practice plan like escape plan. Kung matabo mo gid nga masunog inyo nga balay para may guan nang duwa ko no ka guluan di ba nang sa para may guan ka mo nga dasig kung masunog ang inyong balay. Nang siyempre practice ka mo out sa danay at least nang sa duwa ka tuig no practice ka mo ikaw ko lang imo nga pamilya sa balay nyo. And last is install smoke alarm. Place smoke alarm on every level of your home including inside and outside. Outside bedrooms, test smoke alarms once a month. Change the battery's alarm once a year if your model requires it. So, dili ko no guys, sa vlog na sa tips vlog ko no, matakod ka kuno sang mga smoke alarms para ma-maintain ang inyong safety. Kung kung kinahanglan man gid islang battery, isla nyo kung required ni sa model niya. And that's all for my report for arson prevention tips.
Good day everyone, I am D. Maranyon, 20 years old from Group 4 reporting. With my topic for today, it's all about the Philippine law that relates to arson.
Philippine law that relates to arson. Presidential Decree number 1613 amending the law on arson by our former President Ferdinand Marcos. According to him, by virtue of the powers vested in me by the Constitution to hereby order and decree as a part of the law of the land, the following. The following are the 10 sections. Section 1, arson. Section 2, destructive arson. In Section 3, other cases of arson. Section 4, special aggravating circumstances in arson. In Section 5, where death result from arson. Section 6, prima facie evidence of arson. Section 7, conspiracy to commit arson.